Hello and welcome to another live coaching. I'm Graham Ezzy. I'm on Maui. How's it going? Where are you? Say hi in the chat. Did you sail this week? I sail this week. I think I had 1 or 2 days, but I've been pretty busy. Maui has not had much wind the last few days, and I'm getting ready to leave. I go off island tomorrow, and then I'm heading out to Europe a week after that. So I've been busy getting everything ready to go and taking advantage of this windless period. We've got a lot in the Facebook group to go over, and so I'm looking forward to that. What else do we have going on? Oh, also on the admin side, and I'll mention this later in the stream as well, I released the applications for the windsurfing masterclass in Denmark. Because there was so much demand last year, I'm considering doing 2 weeks back to back. So if you fill out the application and you are interested in doing that second week, please do so in the application. And the link, I'll see if I can post the link here. Hey, Dennis, Matt, Rasmus. Let me see. All right. So I'm just going to copy the link and paste it in the chat, see if that works. So this is the application for the masterclass in Denmark. So the first one, the dates are off the top of my head, I think it's the 3rd to the 9th. And then if we get enough demand, so that one is happening for sure. And then if we get enough demand, then we'll also do one from the 11th to the 17th. So cool. And so I will go through those applications and you'll get a decision in the next few days. It's not going to be too long now. And so that's the link if you're looking for it. All right. Hey, Hans. All right, let's just jump into it. So I'm going to pull up the Facebook page and let's just jump into the coaching. Hey, Greg. And if anyone has any questions about the masterclass, you can, of course, ask me here. A lot of people, a lot of the regulars in the group have also done previous masterclasses with me. Dennis, for example, has done 2. Hey, Mark. All right, so let's get into the group and start the coaching. You guys know the drill. You can interrupt me if you've got a question. All right, so this is the application. So you just click this, follow the link. There's some information here. I didn't put that much information. I mean, there's so much demand for these that I think most people know kind of what they're getting. But if you have questions, you can ask me, and I'm happy to answer them. So just fill out the form, and this is what I was talking about before. So if you are interested in that second week, click yes here, and if you're not, click no. All right, let's get into the coaching. It seems like the live stream is not coming into the Facebook page. So all right, I'm just going to do one quick thing in StreamYard to all right, let's see if that's working now. I'm just going to refresh this page. Hey, Tomas. Nice, good to hear. I want to see some footage. Edwin. Good to have you here. All right, let's jump into the coaching. All right, now this works. I don't know why that didn't work before. All right, so Mario's got a question about pads. So he's trying to find these Quattro pads somewhere in Europe. And there's some great advice from Rasmus and Tomas to reach out to Quattro directly. They have a warehouse in Tarifa, and maybe they can send you some. Otherwise, I've got one more day on Maui. If they have some here, I could bring them with me to Europe. Hey, Jens. All right. So Jens, where did you posted it in Facebook Messenger? I haven't seen that. I'll have to double check, but we'll go through that maybe next week because I don't see that in my messenger. So I'm not sure where that is. I'd love to go through your photos. Hey, Ragnar. All right. Rasmus posted some tacks. So he had a flat water session and it was 15 to 18 knots, 80-liter board. He's 80 kilos. He tried a few different rig handling techniques. All right, let's look at this. So just barely getting up onto a plane. Goes for the tack. Comes around. Looks good. It's a solid tack. The one thing I would say to try, and I think there's a few people from, I think Matt's in the chat, who's maybe Greg's in the chat. They were on the tacking masterclass, and so they might have some tips, Rasmus. But I mean, this is a solid tack. But the one thing I would say to think about is maybe try to have this front leg straighter, longer, and get it in front of the mast a little bit sooner. And that will help you pirouette in the transition. So then you're pushing up, upright, unweighting, doing that pirouette more like a spin, more like a jump rather than stepping around the mast, which will help just be lighter on the board. But you're making it work. So this is perfect. Mark, do you do a lot of slalom sailing? All right, we've got this other tack. Yeah, it looks solid. Yeah, these are looking good, Rasmus. Hey, Mario. Yeah, I'd like to do something in Tenerife. It's a little bit difficult figuring out what dates work best for that. Hey, Bart, Greg. All right, Jens, I'll double check again. So, Mark, how did it feel to be on the on a slalom board? All right, so Greg is saying, Rasmus, that perhaps you could go a little bit earlier around the front, which would, I think, help with this one. But these look good. These look good. Cool. We've got some good comments here. All right, Dennis posted this. Here's a clip showing a few wave rides from the past few months, starting in Denmark last September, and then in small, mushy, messy, unpredictable waves from the Belgian coast. Lots of stuff to point out. What he's been working on is getting low at the bottom turn, sliding hands, so wide grip on the bottom turn, to hands to the harness lines for the top turn. Aim high and get the projection from the lip. Also working on getting more commitment on the backside turns. I think I've managed to slightly improve these key actions along the sessions and get better lip hits on the last waves, meaning that I'm slowly getting better. I feel that he knows more or less what to do, but the principal element that is missing are good conditions. Until a couple of months ago, I was riding a single fin board from 2007 and bought a couple of Quattro cubes and turned one of the single fins into a thruster, but hasn't tried it so far. Yeah, the multi-fin has been a huge improvement. Yes, I've seen that. Had a very good session in April. Cool. No footage of the great session. It's always like that. Somehow. That's one of the laws of windsurfing. This is really cool with the split screen. Smooth riding. I like linking the front side and backside turns. This is footage I'm pretty sure I've seen before, right, Dennis? But it looks good. I can see the I think I've seen this footage, but I saw the progress from the summer to this. Hey, Jorg. So one of the things that Dennis said, oh, I like that. That's nice. So here, this is a good high five. You can see he gets the board right up into the white water, and the white water pushes him around, linking the front side and the backside turns. That was another good high five. Another good high five. So Dennis, you're getting a lot more of these high five hits. You're getting a lot more connection to the power of the wave, like on that one as well. What does that feel like for you? So what is the sensation? And can you explain a little bit more about that process? So like this one, this is a great example of a high five off the white water. You can see he's doing this turn. The board comes up. He gets the bottom of the board so that it's facing the white water. So it gets that high five, and the energy transfers from the white water to the board, turns into board speed. You can see the board gets on its edge and comes out with so much speed. So I love to see that. There's another one. So one of the things that Dennis said he was working on is getting low. And one of the reasons that getting low is important, and I like to say get low before you go. So get low before you go into your bottom turn. And there are many reasons why. Oh, that was another good high five. Many reasons why getting low is important. One of them is that you have that bend in your knees, which helps you absorb the chop. But also, if you think about if you're standing on a scale, right, like something that's going to weigh you, and you're tall, and then you drop down really small, you're going to weigh, like there's a moment there where the weight is less. And then conversely, if you're small, if you're crouching down with your bent knees and you jump up and push yourself off, there's going to be a moment there where you're going to weigh more, right? The scale is going to record more than your weight because you have to apply more force than your weight in order to push up, right? And so if we think about that with respect to the bottom turn, if you get low before you go, then you have those knees bent, you're absorbing the chop. And as you're doing that carve, that bottom turn carve, you can start to sort of push against your feet, extend a little bit. You don't want to extend too much, but you start extending and you're using that to put more pressure on the rail of the board to help you carve, right? And the opposite of that would be if you start tall and then you get small to absorb the chop or whatever else, then you're applying less pressure to the board. So there's just one reason why getting low before you go is really helpful. But Dennis, I can see a lot of A lot of improvement in this. Ooh, tabletop. A lot of improvement in this riding. You can really see the flow. You're linking the front side and the backside turns. You're getting the high fives. Like that was another great example of the high five. And so I feel like one of the things that we were working on in Tenerife. So Dennis was with me and our group on the windsurfing masterclass in Tenerife and in Denmark last year. And one of the things we were working on was letting the wave do the work rather than trying to do the work for the cutback with your body. And like this is a great example of that. You can see he's hitting this section, and this is a kind of section that I really recommend looking for, especially in these kind of onshore conditions. I like to call this the corner section. So where it's breaking coming at you, and you've got this sort of corner of whitewater, and you just angle your board up against that corner. And what I love about these sections is you can do a really dynamic turn, but the timing isn't as difficult as other sections because it's coming at you. And so you can kind of figure out the timing. It's not as, it doesn't need as much fine tuning. And this is a great dynamic off the lip. So Dennis, I can really see the progress here. It's interesting to hear what you're working on and how it's applying to your sailing. Like the biggest thing I see, like, at the end of the day, I'm focused more on outcome rather than minutia of form. And I love seeing, for example, that the board's on the rail, that you're carrying your speed, that you're hitting the lip on these waves. And so it seems like it's really, really working. Here's on the new boards. We haven't even got to the new boards in this video. Yeah, so the new boards are definitely going to be a bit of a adjustment. Oh, getting pounded. Yeah, this is a pretty long whitewater. Okay. But nice, Dennis. Thank you for sharing. This is a great like what am I trying to say? This is a great sort of like record of your journey. Very cool. I can't wait to see where it keeps going. And the boards are pretty cool too. So you got this new board, and then this is an old single fin Angulo that you put in these side boxes for. So I'm really excited to hear how that feels, because you know that board really well as a single fin. So how is it going to feel now as a thruster? Pretty cool. All right, I think this is the tack that we've already seen from Rasmus. This is just one of the videos that popped out. So yeah, so basically Rasmus, my only comment on these is to try to speed up this middle section just a little bit and think of it more as a pirouette, like a ballerina, rather than a step. So you're not stepping it, you're pirouetting. You're doing a spin. So you get coming up upright and sort of pushing off the board to unweight. All right, Mark posted this. So he was competing in this BWA event, and this is a long. I'll just go through and read this. So he was competing. Mark, tell me if I get this right. You were competing in the pro division. That sounds quite tough. The British wave sailing pro fleet is a huge step up, in my opinion, from the Masters fleet. I'm 55 tomorrow, so no spring chicken. Indeed, in the single elimination, I was knocked out in the very first heat of the day by local ripper Phil Dawson. Well done. In the double elimination, I fared a little better, 8th overall. Good work. Nice. The right size gear and lots of luck were big factors. Welcome to competitive windsurfing. The wind began strong, and I had a lovely early free sail with Scottish legend Scott McDowell on 4.7 and an 82 liter. We then moved on to bigger gear, 5.3 and then 5.7. Ironically, the last heat, I should have put the 5.3 back on, but I can't complain. I was still in my wetsuit at 7 p.m. It was a wonderful event. Perhaps it's now time I retired or moved back to the Masters fleet, as the demands on the body are much higher in the Pro fleet with 2 jumps and 2 rides each heat. I was surprised as to what I could do physically, and I learned a heap from sailing with the top guys. I guess the most important thing I learned was that you can do more than you think you can. Yeah, so this is, I think, one of the main reasons to compete as an amateur. And so it can be fun. Some people just have fun doing it. But if you want a reason beyond the fun, it really can push you to your limits. And in doing so, you learn a lot. You learn where you need to improve. It gives you another awareness of your windsurfing that you didn't have before. And here's a video. You can watch this event. Yeah. All right, so we've come back to my post. This is the application for the Windsurfing Masterclass in Denmark. So week 1 is September 3rd to 9th. It seems like we'll have enough people to do a second week, which will be from the 11th, so September 11th to the 17th. And so fill out this application. It's the same application. Just click yes on that last question, and I'm going to sort people around between the 2 weeks. Send me an email. So when you fill out the form, you will get a confirmation email. You can reply to that email if you have a preference for the second week. And so if you have a preference for the first week, then you just click no on the form. But if you have a preference for the second week, email me because I didn't put an option in on the application. All right, next up, we've got this video from Hans. Looks like kind of tricky conditions, light wind, small waves. Where is this, Hans? What's the location? The other vid has the questions. Okay. I'm going to scroll down though and then find that. All right. So Thomas is asking about no wind in France. Is there any progressive exercise to learn the goiter? Yeah, this is a good question. Hey, Nicolas. Yeah, Mark, I'd love to have you on a clinic. That would be great. Hans, okay, so that's in Domburg in the Netherlands. All right, we're gonna get to it. I guess there's the question. All right, here it is. So we're gonna get to that in a second. So Thomas is asking about leading up to the goiter. What do people say in the comments? I'm thinking about this. I'm not sure if there's a progressive way to learn the goiter. I think that the goiter is not as hard a move as it looks. And I think it's a lot easier to learn in side shore or side off conditions. Like, for example, Sunset Beach in Cape Town is a very good beach for learning goiters, or somewhere where you have easy speed down the line, because the more speed you have, the easier it is to rotate, the easier it is to get some wind. Tristan recommends doing paunches. Yeah, that is a good. Yeah, the paunch and the goiter are very similar moves. Basically, the paunch is just a flat water goiter. And the problem is if there's no wind, you also can't train paunches. Keep the arms and legs straight. I don't know. I think you want to really bend the front arm in the goiter. And because then the wind comes from the other side, which helps lift it up, lift the sail from the other side. But the goiter is kind of a tricky move. I think you want to have the right conditions for it. I think probably the best training, if you don't have wind, and this is true of not just the goiter, there's a lot of other moves that fit in this category, push loops, for example, is getting on a trampoline and getting used to moving your body around. So for push loops, for example, I really recommend learning backflips. So learning a back somersault on a trampoline is really, really useful. Yeah. And then for the goiters, doing spins and somersaults, it all helps with that body awareness because the goiter is a very physical move. You're really throwing your body and the gear around. So unlike the forward where you're using the wind more than your body, you know, the forward loop is not a somersault. The goiter is very physical. And so knowing how to control your body is really useful. And so doing that training on a trampoline, I think is good. All right, we've got a couple questions in the chat. So Bart is saying, does the Denmark clinic include accommodation? So it does not. So the Denmark clinic, what you see there is signing up just for the master class, and so that's the instruction. It's basically what's listed on the application. We have a lot of team events, group events. There's a team dinner, and the accommodation, you've got two options. So one, you can do it separately, and I can help you coordinate with other people who are on the masterclass, or I rent a big house, and then there are some rooms in that house that are also rented out to people. So once the confirmations get sent out to the people who are accepted, then I'll also send out the information about accommodation in that house. And otherwise, it's pretty easy to find accommodation up there. Accommodation is not that difficult to find. During that youth event at the same time, but at least at the moment, there still seems to be a pretty good amount of accommodation. And so I'll rent a big house, and then we'll go through there. All right, let's get back to the Facebook group. All right. So Jens, by the way, I did find your comment. It comes in on like the business Facebook. It's a little bit difficult to go through. I'll see if we can get through it on the stream. But in general, posting in the Facebook group is a lot easier for doing the coaching like this. All right, Youssef. Posting session from Pozo. Oof, lots of crashes. Ouch. Ouch. Oh, that was it. I hope you're not hurting too bad. What are you working on? I mean, this is a great little video. Love seeing it. Saying everything survived super well. That's good. Yes, slipping on the way down. I've definitely done this before. I've dinged a board like that. Bruised my hip, dinged the board. Yeah, happens to everyone. Ouch. Yeah, those over-rotated back loops can be pretty painful. Here, you want to get a wider grip and then really look over that shoulder, really look back, try and spin rather than flip, and that'll give you the control that you need, the horizontal and the control that you need. Pretty radical. All right, here we are, Hans. I love the formatting of this. Nice, easy to read. All right, Hans says, my question, how can I avoid sliding out after hitting the whitewater? Following the feedback in this group, I've made a bit of progress and had fun small wave sessions yesterday. Now I'm using longer harness lines. Love it. Good job. Aiming for the lip more, enjoying it, and hoping to make the same progress. Hanging lower from the boom, but not always as much as I'd like to. Update. I added 2 more videos where I'm pretty happy with the top turn, as in hanging from the boom. Okay, let's watch some of these videos. Nice on the whitewater. So you had the question about sliding out. My first question would be to look at your fins and see if you need to go with bigger fins, because if your fins are too small, then you're going to slide out, and it's nothing to do with technique. It's just the gear. So what fins are you riding, Hans? Um, but that looks good though. Okay, so this is the one that we already saw. Yeah, so Hans, it looks like you are making progress. Looks good. One thing that you might find useful is turning your body more into the bottom turn as you're bottom turning. So like at this point, really get your body turned into the bottom turn, which can really then help give you that power to push off the whitewater, which also might help with the sliding out, because then you have more projection rather than just hitting the lip. So getting more wind up into the cutback. So continuing the bottom turn longer, if that makes sense. That's something that's a little bit easier to explain in person than here. But basically, you're kind of pushing the sail away from you. The sail is moving out towards the outside of the turn. Your body's progressively leaning more and more inside the turn, and then you're turning your body in the direction of the turn. And the more you're doing that, the more you're winding the spring, so that then you can unload and push off on the cutback. Because if your body's already angled sort of back to the beach and you're hitting the lip, you don't have any power from your body to put into that turn. And so it's just the wave, and that will often lead you to sliding out. Yeah, opening the sail more, I think, is also something that could be useful. But cool, that looks good. All right, we've got these comments. This is an old post from Phil. So he says, these are his tips. So Phil posted this video a couple weeks ago. He's learning the forward loops, and he's got this really nice rotation, and he's just trying to get the landings. But I and a lot of other people were really impressed with his nice horizontal rotations. And so he is giving some advice here. If you can go to a spot with nice ramp, it's easier than going off to the top. Bring your backhand really back and front hand at the harness lines. I even sail with that hand position for a second before trying a loop. Just before I jump, I sheet out and bring the sail forward to windward to free the mast foot pressure, and I pull in on the backhand. Yeah, good tips. Okay, cool. I think we're kind of caught up. So I'm going to try and find Jens. I'm going to try and see if we can get let's see if we can get your question sharing. So this is from my messages. All right, so let's see if we can do this. All right, Jens, I'm trying to figure out how to get this. So Jens, I'm going to focus on just a couple of your pictures, and because it's a little bit difficult in this other interface, so I'm going to pull up some of the 360 the 360 pictures and see if I can get those on the screen share, and then we can go through them, and maybe one of the backloop ones too. So you guys can't see this. I'm trying to save the photos. All right. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, that kind of works. So this is one of the photos that Jens sent, and this is of a 360. And there's a lot that I really like in this form. I like that you've got the front hand bent and close to your hip. I like this extension with the backhand. You could be a little bit more leaned into the turn, but I like that you're not really leaning out of the turn. So leaning into the turn would mean putting your body more, a little bit more over here. This looks good. The biggest thing is just the placement and the timing. And so where you're hitting it, there's not much power. You're on the side of this corner. And so there's really not much power in the wave. And one of the keys with a 360 is getting the power of the wave to do the work for you. And so what you want to do is be here 2 seconds earlier. And so you have one more picture that's a little bit later. And load that up. So here you can really see that there's just not much push from the wave, right? Like all the power in the wave is right here. And in this part of the wave, there's isn't really power. It's kind of going, you're too much on the shoulder. And so you've got to hit this part of the wave where there is power. Obviously not right now, it's just a wall of whitewater, but as it's starting to throw forward. And that is really the trick to the 360 more than anything else, is getting that timing and placement. And so it seems like you have the right form. You could keep the sail a little bit more open. And so you're already starting to close the sail as you're hitting the wave. And so what you'll notice, even if you have the timing like this, is that if you keep that back arm extended and keep the sail open, it's going to help you do a more quick, free 360 rotation. And so you'll probably not land in front of the wave because there's not enough push from the wave here, but you'll have a better rotation if you keep that sail open. So you really want to keep that sail open. You let the wave push you, and then you're pulling it in once you're already coming through the air, through the rotation. All right, we've got one more picture from Jens, sorry, of the back loop. And I know there's more pictures you posted, but it's or sent in the message, but it's just hard to pull them out because I can't. The way that the interface works is it's not easy to go through them in Messenger, so I have to download them and yeah. So here, what I want to see in the back loop is, so you mentioned that your the ramp is pretty flat. That's true, but I think it still is fine. You did a good job of taking off upwind. I want to see more head movement, and I want to see you really using the sail to steer everything towards your landing. And you want to be landing downwind, and you're really using that sail to steer towards the landing. So you're pushing those arms forward, doing that windshield wiper, pushing the arms forward to steer towards that downwind landing, and really using your head to spot it. It looks like, it's hard to see, but it looks like you're trying to look over your shoulder, but your back is a bit bent. You want to really get that head, head looking at where you're going to land, spotting the landing. Cool. All right. If you've got more questions, let me know. Let us know in the chat. All right. So I think that's kind of it today. So let me just say one more time, the applications are open for the master classes in Denmark. They are happening. There's one from the 3rd to the 9th of Denmark, and based out of Klitmøller. We'll be windsurfing in Hanstholm. And then it looks like there's also going to be one from the 11th to the 17th. It's the same application for both. So the application is posted in the Facebook group, but I also posted again here. And I'll do a post as well on my public profiles. The way that these things work as well is they get sent out to everyone who, so I first email them to everyone who signed up to receive email updates. There's like a list of you guys who have signed up. And then I post it in the Facebook group, and then I'll post it publicly. If you want to have the first opportunity to apply for things that come up, whenever I do this sort of like email gathering post, put your email in. But anyway, you can apply here. I just posted the link in the chat on YouTube, and then the link is already in the Facebook group. All right, everyone. I'm going to sign off. I think that was pretty good. Post your photos, videos, questions, comments, all of the above in the Facebook group. Yeah, we've got a great community. I read every post. Even if I don't comment on it, I'm reading every post. I'm looking at every photo and every video that gets posted. You guys make the community great. I love going through and seeing answers from other people in the community. You know, you guys are what make it special. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. All right, one last question from Rasmus. When the foot batten pocket starts getting abrased by the non-slip and shows some wear, what would my dad do to prevent it from being fully perforated? That's a good question. On our sails, we have a lot of reinforcement on that batten, so it's not really an issue, like at least not from the non-skid. How much that matters, I don't know. I think, Rasmus, if it's just a bit worn, it's not going to be causing any issues. If you really start to have really big holes there, it might start to cause an issue. And then you could just get a sail repairer to just sew another strip, like a cover over the pocket. Alrighty, take care, everyone, and have a good week.